I love create from the tradition design because I think for Cambodia the traditional, the best one, the best design, no new Khmer artists they can over that design, that very 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 high, very rich.
While making art is regarded as a necessity by many practitioners and a consuming passion for a few, rarely is it as dramatically a matter of life and death as it has been for Yary Livan. One of just 3 Cambodian master potters to survive the brutal Khmer Rouge genocide of the 1970s, Yary Livan is the only keeper of this tradition known to be living in the United States today. He was trained in the classical art of Cambodian ceramics at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Phnom Penh. There, he learned to draw and carve traditional motifs, to throw on the wheel, and to hand-build clay in traditional forms. And he learned how to build and operate arched wood-burning kilns, the firing method which produces the distinctive brown glazes characteristic of Khmer ceramics. That last skill proved to be critical. When the Vietnam War spread to Cambodia in the early 1970s, artists and intellectuals were targeted for death by Pol Pot's regime.
In Pol Pot time, I worked like an animal with fear, many years. In Pol Pot time, my art spirit was almost dead.
To survive, Yary was forced to hide his education and artistry. But ironically, it was his knowledge of ceramics that saved him from certain starvation or death. Yary's mother learned that the Khmer Rouge soldiers were desperate for kilns in which to fire roof tiles. Knowing it was a risk, she informed them of her son's skills as a ceramicist. The risk paid off. Yary survived and was still building wood-burning kilns for the regime when the Vietnamese freed Cambodia in early 1979. He spent most of the following 2 decades moving from one refugee camp to another. Finally, in July 2001, he obtained a visa and left Cambodia for Lowell, Massachusetts, where he and his family live today. The following year, Yary was granted political asylum. With support from a leader in the local Cambodian community and art educators, Yary slowly gained access to working with clay. He set up a basement studio accessible via a rickety ladder through a hole in the floor. There he continued working in a ceramic tradition that traces itself back to the 6th century. He's also become a tireless mentor for students and clay artists, sharing his mastery of this endangered ceramic tradition.
I'm never moving. Move the home around the low, that's just move that, but we never move out from that town. I'm planting the art tree on the land low. Right now the tree will grow up and the roots, a lot of roots. We hard to move out. The root will longer and longer. The root is communicates to the people.
Yary's mastery has twice been recognized by the Massachusetts Cultural Council. First with a Traditional Arts Apprenticeship grant in 2010, and then a prestigious Artist Fellowship in the Traditional Arts in 2012. The latter enabled him to rent space at Western Avenue Studios in Lowell and helped him realize a decades-long dream of building a wood-burning kiln.
Most people out from the wood-burning kiln, they change a lot. I can't expect the color that come out from the kiln. That's the thing we need the wood-burning kiln. Because they make me surprised all the time when we unload that. some piece I really love that, but I can't make another one. I get just one only. That's the thing I like it.
In 2015, Yary received a National Heritage Fellowship, the country's highest honor in the folk and traditional arts. Despite this achievement, Yary's humility and devotion to the Cambodian tradition continues.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning my whole life. I think I'm not learn all that design that Cambodia have a bit before. I want to know how the old people do that, because the ancient, the traditional artists, they work everything not for themselves, for community, for God, for king, not for money. We work some for money, for living, because everyone need the money. But at least I'm still work for represent the Khmer, for the community, At least I happy that.